I worked in kitchens on and off for 10 years.
Okay.
Before I switched over to carpentry.
Oh, yeah. Because now you work wood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. So you did meth 2 more times and working in a kitchen, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, and then I met a girl that I decided I wanted her to be it. I was having a lot of promiscuous sex prior to that. Also, tons and tons of it.
Risky sexual behavior goes hand in hand with drug abuse lifestyle.
Yeah, but I mean, this was after the meth.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, before and after.
That's still often the case and is not discussed openly. In our society, men are told to go fuck anything that moves and then we're shamed for it. And women are told to never have sex and then are shamed for having sex. So people aren't addressing the absolute undeniable power of consensual adult eros energy and sex and fucking and lovemaking. And many people approach that in many different ways, but you're giving away literally half of the ingredient of life to random people. And it's such an exchange of energy that I have definitely moved into a place in my life where I'm very protective of my vitality.
Absolutely.
You know? And
lucky for me, I only caught chlamydia once.
Only one time.
That was it.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I think I was 19.
And that's another thing too. Like, it's so people don't talk about it and they're embarrassed. And it's like, bro, the statistics say that if you don't have one, you're like in the out group. Which is so messed up.
Whoa.
It's so messed up, right?
Yeah.
I was a definitely a promiscuous dude for a hot minute. I was, I was an unfaithful partner. I was a cheating husband. I did all of the illicit, awful stuff, man. And it was always because, much like you were talking about earlier, you felt helpless, right? And so you were angry. I felt like I had no intrinsic value. I didn't love myself. And so anytime I could manipulate someone into having sex with me, I was like, oh, I'm valuable. And they see me. And it's like, well, that's fucking stupid, dude. That's such a bad feedback loop.
Oh my God. I love it.
Yeah. But that's cool, man. So you met.
I have 2 teenagers with this woman, and it ended up being a very toxic, traumatic situation for me, to the point that I don't even speak to their mom at all, haven't in years, and probably won't. Ever.
Just coming in with these heaters, dude. Like that's stuff that men aren't allowed to talk about that hardly ever either. That stuff happens to us as well. We end up in relationships that are unhealthy and toxic. There's just people waiting in the wings to point a finger at a dude when a relationship's over. And they're like, it's fucking your fault. Like, I actually showed up powerfully and presently with full love. It wasn't me, you know? And in the same time, like, we're responsible for everything that happens to us, right?
Yes, we are. We absolutely are. We have a hand in the things that happen to us just as much as...
Because we have full agency and we see the red flags and we choose to walk by because those titties are nice or that pussy feels too good or whatever, right? Like, truly.
Sure.
And that might be a little bit crude, but this is the really like real things that at least go through my mind. I don't know if that was the same case for you, but I've stayed in relationships way too long because I thought the sex was like the end of the world, fucking best sex I was ever going to have. You know, like, I can take that emotional and physical abuse if I get that ass one more time.
I stayed in the relationship for the sake of my kids.
Yeah.
And, and then it came to a point where that just wasn't even an option anymore.
Staying together for the kids is one of the worst things that we can do.
Yeah. We really showed them what dysfunction looks like on a regular basis. Yeah. And we just really drove that home.
Yeah. No, I love how you took that serious tact of like, we did our best to show them what not to do.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
indeed. But that separation that I insisted upon for my own mental health reasons or whatever has opened up so much for me to cut that out of my life and still be able to have awesome, healthy relationship with my kids.
Yeah.
With her not involved.
Yeah. And that's really the best thing that you can do. It's really the best thing that you can do.
Yeah. It's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
My
Good.
kids are awesome and they think I'm cool too. So yay.
Doing cool dad vibes. That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We separated ways and I ended up meeting my current wife, who I was not looking for. We went to high school together. I went to a 10-year high school reunion party and there she was and we connected and, you know, the rest is history, man.
Yeah.
You know, we've been married for 8 years going strong and God, I love that woman.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You tell me all the time. And that's so beautiful.
She's the best.
Yeah, she's super cool. Super cool. How has music healed you throughout this process and throughout this expansion? Because you started to talk about busking in Pike Place.
Oh, yeah. Well, I could back up to that.
Yeah, let's go run it back.
There's not a whole lot to say about it except for it was a really good time. I made money in the summer, pretty good money doing it. I was still floating, couch surfing, hopping around, you know, doing the promiscuity and all of that, running around with my guitar and singing. It got me everything that I wanted, which was food, shelter, and sex. Those were the things I wanted.
Yeah.
But it was after a couple of years when I decided that I was ready to maybe like have my own place and, you know, get a job and settle down. And it was cool while it lasted, but I was ready to move on.
Yeah, understandably so, right?
Yeah.
For some stability?
Absolutely. So that not every day was completely random.
Yeah, chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos. Yep. Okay. That's beautiful, man. Did you stay in Seattle that whole time that you're busking and doing that stuff? Or did you travel the country or what did that look like?
Yeah, actually I did do a trip down California coast with my buddy Russ.
Down California way?
Yeah. Yep, we did. And it was cool. We ended up going down all the way, I think about to Oceanside or so before we ended up taking off and heading back up north. We met some folks in Berkeley there in the Bay Area. He decided that's where he wanted to be.
Okay.
So he stayed.
Yeah. I love that.
And he stayed and I went back. That was quite the experience too. Just different people that you meet and the way the journey goes and sleeping in the back of a truck.
Yeah.
It was really something else.
Yeah. A lot of people don't have the courage to do that, man.
Well, sometimes it's courage and sometimes it's just stupid. Maybe I was too stupid to be scared. I don't know. But
young, man.
Yeah. I do love a good adventure. So, you know, and I'm still that way. So I don't know. I love me a good adventure.
Yeah.
You know, some people might say, ooh, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, let's go.
Yo, if I'm scared, we should probably do it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the way I look at things. And that's what I taught my kids too. Like cliff jumping is my favorite example because I would always tell them like on the other side of that fear, you know, you're going to have a good time. Like you're scared when you look over the edge. You're scared when you back up. You're scared when you start running. But as soon as you jump off of that edge, that fear, it's like you're breaking through this fear barrier.
Yeah.
And then you're having a blast and they have carried that with them, all of them. Like,
that's
and
good.
I'm so proud of them. You know, I'm so proud of all of them. Mm-hmm. Man, if you let fear control you, you're not going to have a life to live.
Fear-based decision making is definitely something that you want to avoid unless it is something, you know, for your immediate safety.
Yeah.
You know, there's you know, there's that, but you know, I mean, you know, emotional fear,
absolutely
not survival.
There's a huge difference between I'm afraid of public speaking versus I don't want to get shot.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm pretty sure you're not going to die if you have to talk in front of people. Right. You might want to. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of, it's fair to clear that up. That's the kind of fear that we're talking about here is that kind of stuff. So I have a question for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This is a David Letterman level question.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay. Of the two healing modalities, music and psychedelics, which has had a bigger impact on you becoming who you are today in your philosophy and your ability to be fully integrated?
I would say that psychedelics would be something that has healed so much. It's beyond the music. It's before the music. It has helped me to accept and love myself in ways that I was always afraid to. I would recommend it to anyone. You know, I was just telling a friend, I've had really good, awesome, amazing experiences where I feel truly connected with the universe and one, and just the love and the openness and ability to really engage with others, you know, and just fantastic. And then the flip side of that, where I was so anxiety ridden, I wanted to go hide. I didn't know where to, you know, don't know what to do. I'm uncertain of everything. You know, I'm freaking out. I'm not breathing well. My stomach hurts, and just all negativity. I was saying that, you know, oddly so, it was those horrible experiences that actually helped me more than the good ones.
Yes.
Because it had a way of putting me kind of into a fight or flight mode, but it wasn't something I could run away from.
Oh, you're not getting away. Buckle up.
Yeah. So,
buckle up.
So, I basically had to reason with myself that I was okay, or that I was good enough. I had to make peace with what was going on so that I could actually feel okay. Beyond those psychedelic moments, you know, when I'm not having, you know, on a psychedelic trip or anything, those mental exercises that I had to go through to be okay translated into today, into now, where I'm able to deal with anxiety and depression and dissociative behaviors and the runaway complex, or the I don't have anything to say and I'm just going to be over here. So much better. It does still happen.
Oh, yeah.
It does still happen. You know, the fight's not over, but I feel like they've really allowed me to be okay with who I am and love myself and live the life that I want. I've never been so busy doing the things that I love on top of doing all the shit I have to do.
Yeah.
And it's great.
I love all of that. And similar experience. A couple of things I want to touch on. You said specifically that the fight's not over. And for my experience with psychedelics is resistance is futile. Right.
Yes.
And the more you try to resist that, because it's going to come up, man. Even in my practice where I do the work and I have a lot of tools in my toolbox, traditional methods of training and therapy and all this other stuff, in addition to like my dabbling in magic and all these other things. That's my whole role in life, right? I'm meant to go and sample everything and then come back and tell everybody else about it. That's kind of...
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And I think that's the artist's job, right? That's the creative's job in so many ways. You do that with your music, with your guitar, with your voice. I do that with my poetry, with the podcast, with whatever I can get my hands on. One of the biggest lessons I learned is to notice and allow, and to surrender. And surrender has a bad rap because everyone's like, oh, then you're quitting and like failing. And it's like, no, dude, like I'm floating in the current of the universe. Like I'm in the ocean. I'm relaxed and I'm present and I'm open to, like, I know that the universe conspires for me and everything that it does. Might be some ugly ass crying and a ton of heartbreak, but it's still for my benefit because that wasn't serving me and I couldn't take myself out of it. So it was taken from me. I just wanted to point that out, to really remember, like, no matter what you're going through, whether you do psychedelics or not, but to stand in witness for your experience, no matter what it is, and don't resist it, but embrace it, lean into it. When that fear comes up and I'm in a big mushroom experience, I'm going to lean into that. And what they taught me, the big takeaway, and much like what you're saying, is to sit with it, to sit with what is going on. You don't need to run. You don't need to hide. You don't need to fight it. You don't have to be in fight or flight. Is this uncomfortable? Yes. Am I fine? Yes. I can be many things at once. And it is learning and actively understanding that I can be in the most, like, literally, there are moments in a big journey where I'm like, I want to die. Oh, I am dying.
I've actually been there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I did die.
Oh, and
I am dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here we are, and this is death, and I'm also fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And man, you're absolutely spot on. It's like what people call them bad trips. And even people are still trying to figure out ways around that. It's like, no, man, that's the medicine. It's so easy to go into a journey and have a great time and dance with the butterflies and slide the rainbows.
And I would recommend that to anyone.
No, yeah, for sure.
I really would.
Yeah, absolutely. But you better do that shadow work or else.
Well, yeah. And regardless, you're going to get your ass kicked when you need it.
Oh, yeah. And that's really cool, man, that you said that. And I don't want to, we don't need to put your specific recipe on blast here. But I will share that there's a lot of cool stuff coming out of MAPS right now. And MDMA therapy is on the cusp of becoming a fully legal, facilitated psychedelic, even though it's an empathogen, fully available treatment for PTSD and therapy and stuff. And that saved my life. And the reason that MDMA was so effective is because it teaches you to sit with all that guilt and the shame and the self-doubt and all of the disgust, all the things that drive addictive, self-destructive, antisocial behaviors. MDMA teaches you to be with that stuff inside of yourself, to love it, to integrate it, and to be able to still function. And it clears dissociation. And you said this earlier. I was so proud of you because I love you so much. You're like dissociative behaviors.
Oh, yes.
Huge deal.
Which I own.
Oh, you have to.
Absolutely.
You have to. And looking at you guys out there who have 5 drinks every day of the week after work, like, I love you. And I hope that maybe you could dial that back a little bit. Yeah, right? Because it's just listen to Andrew Huberman's podcast about alcohol and the impact that it has on the body. Just ridiculous. I'm so glad. I haven't had no alcohol has passed my lips since the 12th of February. I'm so stoked on that.
I must admit, I'm a bit of a drinker.
Yo, you know what, man? There's no judgment here. There's no judgment here. Yeah. And I was going to follow that up and say, like, if you're being productive and you're doing your thing and you take care of your family and yourself and everything else, man, like, and do what you will. Do what you will.
I do what I want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's my body.
Anyway,
so MDMA clears dissociation from the body. So when what you're doing is, one, you're getting used to, like, where are all these feelings stored? What is it like to be in this place? I can access my joy and happiness and well-being no matter what I'm going through, because that is intrinsic. It is internal to me. It is mine. And I can choose that whenever I want. So when you do start using fungus after about 9 to, depending on the person, some people have great results with 3 MDMA sessions. My personal experience was 9 or more MDMA sessions. And then you move into using fungus. And those sessions can be super intense, but what the MDMA has taught you is how to be with all that stuff that comes up. Then when you get into the plant medicine and those psychedelics, they're able to actually give you even deeper teachings because you did all that clearing work with the MDMA first.
So that there might be some things that I'm realizing as you speak now that make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Do you want to share them?
Well, the MDMA in general, I have work sessions MDMA somewhat frequently.
I don't want to blur the lines, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm talking about, like, truly, what my experience, I had never done MDMA before in my whole life, and then I met a therapist who was doing this stuff underground.
I didn't have therapy.
And no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I want to be clear, so people who are listening know. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing my experience.
Right.
So my sessions were exactly in the MAPS protocol. I had an eye cover on. I was not listening to music. I was witness the entire time. I was doing body scanning meditation. I was laying down and going through my body and sitting with all these things and doing the breath work and all that stuff. And then I was doing integration work 3 days after that session with a different counselor. And then I was also doing cannabis sessions, maybe once a month with that. Same process, eye cover, laying on the table, the whole deal. So I have that experience with all that stuff before I ever did MDMA at a rave or anything like that, because once I got through, right. And that to me is amazing, because had I ever been introduced to that substance before, I don't know that this therapy would have saved my life. And that's why I'm such an advocate and a proponent. This is the most open I've spoken about this.
This is amazing stuff. I mean, and how lucky one could be to be introduced with professional therapists. That is incredible.
Yeah, it did not come cheap. It cost me, at the time I was in a good place and I had saved up some money, but it was $1,200 a day for a session. And you're doing the whole day. Like, you might be in the MDMA space for anywhere from, depending on what comes up, man, there were times when you'd be like doing such deep emotional, energetic work that you would burn off the entire dose in like 3 hours. And you're not even dancing. You're doing nothing. You're laying there breathing and talking about what's going on. And then there were days where, it would last 5, 6, 7 hours, and you come out of the MDMA space, and then you get, a little bit of time to like come back into the world and like all those kinds of things. But it was beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And I'm so glad that it's going to be legal because I'd done traditional therapy, talk-based stuff like exposure, all these other different things. And it just taught me how to manipulate people in a more effective way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I was that guy. Yeah, I was that guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so please share your experience because I know and I'm listening to a book right now by, I believe her name is Rachel Nguyen. It's called I Feel Love. And it is the entire, it's the history of MDMA and how it has come to where it is today with MAPS and like the whole story of the people behind MAPS and the people who initially synthesized it. And like, it's such an amazing book. I Feel Love, Rachel Nguyen. Fantastic. Highly recommend.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I take this seriously. I love this stuff so much. Dude. I love it. Yeah.
Wow. Well, my experiences have been more recreational based, honestly. When it comes to it, I found that first time I tried it, I just absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. I would do that sometimes in conjunction with the fungus.
Right. Oh, a nice hippie flip.
Bruh.
Yeah.
And it's very enjoyable. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on one second, Brian. At that hippie flip, we're just going to stop for a minute and take a break. We'll be right back.